Okay, I'm going to Facebook now, and I'm going to my page. Okay. Hey there, friends. It's KHOU reporter Melissa Correa joining you from Casa Correa, Casita Correa. We are in who knows what, maybe week 8 or week 9 of happy hour. I'm going through some of the comments. April Banda is saying, what? Happy hour? Terry saying hello, and Terita Gilbert is wondering what this is. So it sounds like we've got some fresh faces joining us for happy hour. And it's exactly what the title suggests, an hour of happiness. You can enjoy some wine, some cocktails, crack open a beer, do whatever you'd like as long as you're not drinking and driving. But we're hoping over the next hour or so to share some great, uplifting, joyful, happy stories from neighbors here in the Houston area throwing out kindness to their own neighbors. So, this is what it is. I don't know if any of y'all could use a boost, but I sure can. And Rose Ann Mendiola is saying, well, speak up. Hey there, Rose. We're figuring it out as we go. Our team is working from home. So I'm hoping you can give us just a moment of patience as we figure all of these things out. Ramirez Jose has got some question marks, and Patty says, here we go again. Hello, Lynn, and hi, Letty. Hopefully, Jose Ramirez understands what's happening now. And Angelica is saying, fast typing. That's exactly right. Christina's joining us as well. Angelica Roberts is saying hello, and so is Lupillo. He got a little echo. Again, we're trying things out. As you all kind of settle in and say hello to everybody, I know you all are talking about, Monique is talking about margaritas. Terita is saying, I like how she says my name. Someone's got some wine going at home, and I love it. Someone's got ranch water, they say. And folks are saying, howdy, how fun. We've got a lot of things going here. So as we figure out the microphones, I'll tell you what, we had to dust all of this equipment off because it's okay, Keith says, but last week we took a break from happy hour. It was the first time in, the last couple of months that we didn't have happy hour on Facebook. And I wanted to show you why. This is my personal, blog to share with all of you. Facebook, I shared it on Facebook, KHOU Melissa Correa, if you follow me there. I wrote up a whole personal post about how last week I took an entire week off from work. It was so nice. I drove down to South Texas. My family and I grew up on the Texas-Mexico border in the Rio Grande Valley, so I got to see them. I hadn't seen my family since January. Because of the pandemic, it made travel a little difficult, but the stay-at-home orders were lifted, so I was able to go see my family. And over the last week, I did so much growing of a relationship with my parents. And one of the fun things we did was go through all of these antiques and collectibles that were passed down from my grandparents down to us. And so there I shared this photo. You see the beautiful flower bouquet, but that doily on the bottom, it's actually a placemat that's hand stitched in pristine condition. It has to be at least, 40, 50 years old. They belong to my grandmother. And so I brought those up to Houston, made a nice little arrangement here on my kitchen counter. And now my Mamo is with me. Also, while we were digging up some stuff at my house, I realized that photo you see there of fruit actually came from Panama in 1985. And I learned that on the back of the frame, my papo, my dad's dad, R.T. Correa, had inscribed that photo to me in 1985. I was only a year old then. Celebrated my 36th birthday on Monday with this delicious strawberry cake cheesecake combination from Sweet and Tasty in McAllen, Texas. And it was so much fun. But over that whole week, never turned on the TV, didn't tune into social media. And so I missed quite a bit. Some of the things that I missed, The class of 2020 celebrating their graduation in any way they could. Take a look at this video that people are loving out of Austin. Jack and Andrew, the two guys that are in these videos, graduated from Westlake High School in Austin. They were wake surfing in their caps and gowns. We're congratulating them on their accomplishments, and it's so cool to see, the class of 2020 finding unique ways to safely celebrate, because all of the traditional avenues this time around aren't a possibility because of the pandemic. One of the things I also missed, and my nephew was a little bummed because I didn't give him a head up on this, was SpaceX making history. I want to just pause for a moment so you can listen to the launch. Did you see this? Whoa, that's the Falcon 9 team, two NASA astronauts partnering with the private company SpaceX to launch those astronauts into space. And then we had video, because the great news over the weekend is we learned that they docked there on the International Space Station. These astronauts were bringing in supplies and helping the team on the ISS. And it was so cool to see. That launch was supposed to happen earlier last week, but the weather delayed it. And so the rocket took off on Saturday and then later connected with the ISS. I have to give it up to those two astronauts, because they had both been in isolation, I read, since March because of the pandemic. NASA had to make absolutely sure that there was going to be no way they take the coronavirus up to the ISS. And so these guys really doing a public service to America, sacrificing their personal lives, in the expedition of space. It was so cool to see. And what a celebration it was. But then when I finally did turn on the television, like so many of you, I learned and saw what happened to George Floyd. His death was captured on camera in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And as I quickly caught up to speed, once I got back on social media and into the news cycle, I realized he had this connection to Houston, grew up in the 3rd Ward, a graduate of Yates High School, I believe. And there was something so painfully sad about seeing this happen to another American again. This dose of police brutality. That investigation's now underway. The 4 officers that were seen in that cell phone video have all been charged with the crime. And today in Minneapolis began the first of several days of community mourning and grieving for George Floyd. And we saw that on national news, and was reading articles today about how people all the way in Syria are honoring this man and what his life represents, with murals and tributes and prayers. And Houston earlier this week held a community march, a rally, to call for justice in his death and to call for equality throughout this country. And some of these pictures in Houston have just gone viral. I'd like to think for all the right reasons, because Houstonians in Texas really came together to honor the life of this man, to put a spotlight on what racism truly is and what police brutality in this nation truly is. And so these are some of the pictures. And one of the photos that really took off is this photo of prayer. You see that Houston police officer there and that resident there. We got the photos first. And then yesterday, we got our hands, KHOU did, on the video of that prayer. And I'm so excited to share it with you. I'd like for you to listen.
Even in the midst of a challenging situation, that if officers see something that's not right, that's unjust, that's not of love, so Father God, I pray that they would speak up. And Lord God, you commanded us that the second of the 2 greatest commandments was to love, Father God. So even with the dangerous, challenging job that the officers have, Father God, I pray a spirit of love over them. I pray a spirit of discernment over them. I pray a discernment of justice over them, Father God. I pray that even if they don't know what else to do, whether they believe in your power or not, whether they believe in the name of Jesus or not. I believe in the name of Jesus, and I believe that that love is bigger than any love that has ever existed, Father God. So I just pray that power of love over our offices in our city, God, and I pray that that love will be contagious, that it will spread throughout our nation, and the officers will stand up for what's right, for our government officials to stand up for what's right, and by all means, just love when our hearts are cloudy.
And so I'm going through some of the comments while you all were watching and listening to that prayer. And, you know, Nicole brings up a great point about the pandemic and funerals and the sacrifices that so many other families have made. And I thought long and hard, because this is happy hour and we are going to get to happy news, but this is happening in our life and in our backyards and in our communities. And so I thought, how am I going to address this? And 100% there has to be a conversation about how we change and the work that we need to do to make sure that this doesn't happen in our country. Is that conversation best left to a Facebook Live? I don't know about that, because we really, in order, I think, to have effective change and to have people listen with open hearts and ears, we have to have that conversation face to face. Not in a keyboard where people might be who they are, might not be who they say they are, those sorts of things. And so I'll tell you this, Nicole and friends, you know, when I saw that cell phone video, 8 minutes and 46 seconds of it, I immediately looked inward and thought, what can I do? What life can I live? What things do I need to look out for? And what role can I play in this change? Because it starts with each of us. And so I'm hopeful that the rest of us will see all of this pain and struggle and stress and frustration that we're dealing with, name a situation and we can add it to the list. The pandemic, the unemployment, the economy, the fact that this is happening again, police brutality, and this like abhorrent racism in our country, the fact that people are sick. There's so many things going on, the mental health struggle in this country. And so you can look at all of that and think, wow, this is so hard. But all of these issues we tackle at home and within ourselves. And the key to progress is listening, responding kindly, putting down the defenses, and opening our hearts. And so I'm hopeful that as we move through, you know, these positive stories in this next hour, it allows us to just take a sigh and relax our minds and our bodies and just for a moment get back to center so that we can be our best selves for our families and for our neighbors. And so with everything that's come out of George Floyd, I want to wrap that portion of happy hour with this picture. And it's something that I saw on social media this week in the Texas Med Center. They're calling it White Coats for Black Lives. And these are healthcare workers in the Texas Medical Center, the biggest medical center in the Western Hemisphere. And these doctors, nurses, and medical students took 8 minutes and 46 seconds out of their day to stand together at peace and in silence to honor George Floyd and pay tribute to what his death truly means in this country. I thought it was so powerful because these medical workers, their goal is to save lives, every single life. And in the middle of a pandemic, they are highlighting just how important this chapter of American history truly is. White coats for Black lives.
Here's the thing about Houston. We've been through tough times before, but we are fighters. This is different, but it is still life-changing, and hopefully it will change us for the better. So do what you have to do now to be ready to bring our city back to life. Stand for hope. Stand for each other. Stand for Houston.
So let's get happy hour going. I'm so thankful that you all are sticking with me. Bobby, thank you for the good positive vibes. We're all just human. We're all just trying our best here to bring some joy and share some happiness. And I can't do it by myself. I've got a team of peeps. Let's bring in the bobbleheads. We've got Randy Klein, our digital director. I give him a new title every week. Randy is the guy behind the keyboard. He's the guy, Randy, say hi in the feed. He's responding to everybody's comments and questions in our live feed. And when the story airs, Randy's the guy who shares a link, just in case you like what you see and you want to share it with your family and friends on Facebook. Keith is exactly doing what the he says. Hello. Hi to everybody. He's rolling the video.
On the show again with you. Can you believe it?
He is on the show again. It's so fun, and it's good to have you back. I was talking to Keith about my week off and telling him he has to take one too. What do you say to that, Keith?
It. I'm sorry, I'm gonna, ditch you and all, but I'm gonna take one here pretty quick. Not next week, the week after.
Yeah, please tell me, because without Keith, I don't know that we can do happy hour. Keith is a magician behind the screen. And these are all of the stories that he's going to help me share with you guys today. Let's take a look at them. I believe we have 5 or 6. We have quite a few. And it was so difficult for me organizing which ones I wanted to play because all of these are so great. Teen paints bright spot for his neighborhood. Say cheers, class of 2020. Follow the Yellow Brick Road, a song for families who live apart. And pack your bags, Timmy. You're heading to Nana's house. That one's so good. Please stick around. You have to stick around to meet Nana and Timmy. But without further ado, our first happy hour story, some good juju for all of you. I present to you Adrian Dean.
What Adrian Dean can't express in words, he details in his drawings. This 15-year-old dreams to be known one day because art is his life. And everything around him is a canvas. This is what he did for his brother's birthday last month. You can see his family's car parked in a shopping center. That's where he met Ann Richards from Hollyview Drive. She posted on Nextdoor that she was in shock, and she and her husband complimented his work. Karen Askins read that post on Nextdoor and hired him to make car posters for a graduation parade. About a half dozen others have called on Adrian to paint their cars or sketch their favorite characters.
I mean, luckily I was there. I just wanted to help.
He surprised Mattress Mac with this, drew JJ Watt on the side of an SUV, and it was so good, number 99 had to show some love. Adrian is not out charging major money.
I'm just happy that I can just do some art for people and just making their day. That really means a lot to me.
And his gift at 15 means a lot to his neighbors.
Know that we're all still here together.
Right now, so many of us don't know what our future holds. But this hero next door has one well-defined plan. All he's got to do is color in the rest. Standing for Houston, Melissa Correa, KHOU 11 News.
Adrian Dean, he kind of exploded on Nextdoor after I shared that story. So many people across the Houston area are like, how can I connect with him? I'd love for him to draw some things for me. If you're on Instagram, his handle is at Adrian Dean 3000, regular spelling, at Adrian Dean 3000. He's only 15 years old and he's self-taught, and he accepts enough donations, I guess, to buy more of those window markers, but that's it. And since we worked on that story with him, his mom texted a Harris County Sheriff's deputy. He decorated the car for the deputy in a surprise birthday. I mean, just so many different things, signs and cards and portraits for people who are just fans of anime or different celebrities or JJ Watt. So I loved sharing that story because sometimes we think we don't have much to give. I don't have any money. I can't go anywhere. I'm 15. I don't have a car. And then if you look inward, you look at your talents and you realize so many people would love to receive whatever gift you have to offer. So glad to share the story of Adrian Dean. This next story, say cheers, class of 2020. This one's a fun story. We talked about the Wake Forest or Westlake team in Austin, celebrating with the Surfin' USA style. Well, kids here in Houston really just want a picture. And as a kid whose mother would love one more, let me tell you, once in a lifetime opportunity to take senior portraits. How do you do that in the middle of a pandemic? Well, you ask your neighbors for help. Take a look.
This is how senior portraits happen in the middle of a pandemic. Out of the kindness from our neighbors.
They've missed prom, they've missed graduation. This is just a little something to tell them that we're proud of them. This is a huge achievement and they should be proud of themselves.
Stephanie Davis Photography teamed with DeMontrond Collision to capture Klein ISD's Class of 2020. These heroes next door provided a free photo shoot and one free portrait to more than 500 seniors. Mom Marcia Harvey is thrilled.
It's just an exciting time, especially during this COVID. It's a nice chance to take a break and enjoy this moment.
Which is bittersweet. This is the last week of school for the district.
I'm just ready to go forward with my future.
And we're ready to celebrate your success. Standing for Houston, Melissa Correa, KHOU 11 News.
As we bravely move forward into this new era, we at KHOU believe this city is greater than the virus. It's bursting with stories of people working to save lives, to change lives, start lives, and rebuild lives. These are the stories we're sharing every night. That's what you can expect from KHOU. We hope you'll join us every night as we stand for Houston.
That's our latest promo. It's real nice. If you live in the Houston area, you can turn your TV to channel 11. If you're joining us from out of town, which at times some people do, say hi in the comments. I'd love to know where you're joining us from. But you can also stream us, khou.com. Every weeknight at 6 p.m. I share positive news. I love telling people that I do that. I love Lisa Annette Stanley's comment. Smiles are free, Melissa Correa. You give lots of smiles. This is true. It's better, right? It's fun. And it makes me feel good to smile. And this next story might just do that. Like, legit, Lisa, if you don't smile with this next story, Ramona says, hi, Ramona, I want to know if you're going to smile with this next story, you got to follow the yellow brick road. This gal who I interviewed was so much fun. We pulled out Drone 11 for this story, and I'm so glad that we did, that we worked as a team, because I don't know that you would have been satisfied with what I'm about to show you if we stayed on the ground. We rose to the occasion just for you.
Once upon a time, neighbors in Southwest Houston came across this golden home. The fairy godmother who lives here used her colorful wand to turn sadness into sunshine. Okay, Donna Grimes.
Is this right here?
Technically isn't made of magic.
Okay.
But the retired teacher's work really is something special.
Kids were doing chalk on their sidewalks and stuff, and I thought, I am not going to work that hard in order to have first rain wash it away. So I did it then in acrylic paints.
On her knees at the age of 75.
have gotten to know so many neighbors, and so many people have stopped and just driven by and said, your place brings us such happiness. And then they kept giving me suggestions. You need to have this. You need to have that. You know, of course, you have to have the whips. So I put her in with her flying monkeys. We want to see this coronavirus melting.
Everything we need to get through this is within us.
And I think we're going to see a lot of appreciation to the things we have.
Like home. And the heroes who live next door. Standing for Houston, Melissa Correa, KHOU 11 News.
Isn't she the cutest? She was so much fun, and she's one of those neighbors who I genuinely wish I could have met in person. You know, one of the themes of these stories is I'm working on them from home. You know, KHOU is taking such good care of our health that, you know, they're making all of these exceptions for the way we handle local news. And so I Zoom almost every single story. I'm Zooming. And for someone who is active and as loud as I am, that's been quite a lesson in releasing control. So, you know, when I met Donna Grimes and I realized how full of energy she is and how I likely will be Donna Grimes in 40 years, I just thought, to wrap my arms around that lady. But she has the best personality, because doesn't she make you feel like you know her, like you are at her house, like everything's so great? I mean, if you're looking for a permanent project, take that chalk art and paint it up with acrylics. She's so detailed too. And, you know, Houston is not as hot as it can be. I mean, we can reach the hundos really easy. But still, over these last few weeks of, you know, March and April, when she was painting all of this, it was still in the 80s and 90s and some days, very hot and sunny and humid. And so for her to be down on the ground doing that for her neighbors, I think is so awesome. Latasha's joining us, and she's giving everybody a big hello from Houston. I love that Bobby watched that story on KHOU Live. She says she remembers that story. You have a special place in my heart now, Bobby. And Delia Sosa is saying hola to everybody. Okay, this next story, though, is a story that could only be told because of Zoom. Because the gal that you're about to meet, Michelle Tristan, she lives in Nashville. She's a Houston native, but she lives in Nashville, so she relies on travel. What do you do in the middle of a pandemic when for the longest time it seemed like people couldn't board planes and cross the country? So we talked to her about this, a song for families who are apart. And I encourage you to truly try to listen to what the lyrics are. We've also got the whole YouTube link for you. Randy's going to share that as well. But it's really a beautiful song. Take a listen.
That's Michelle Tristan. She's a Houston native who now lives in Nashville. And she's a mom who poured her feelings into this song.
I've never seen anything like this before. It feels so empty to hide behind closed doors. Trying not to be afraid, hoping you can hear me pray. Been thinking hard on the things I'm thankful for.
Like her family, her parents still live in Cy-Fair, her husband's family out in Sugar Land. Michelle can't wait for the day she can come back to Houston for a visit. So when her church requested she write this song, she had a lot to share.
So we were going to travel to Houston, and we were going to go to South by Southwest, which got canceled, obviously. It's just been a very interesting time, just canceling everything that you were planning on doing and not being able to travel or have people travel to come visit.
So many families can relate to that. It's why Patty shared Michelle's YouTube link with us on Nextdoor. She says it helps to counteract the free-floating, misplaced anger out there.
Looking back, this is gonna be surreal.
It's why Michelle is a hero next door. She found a way to connect with neighbors by using her talent to remind us we're not alone.
Wondering how I'll explain might never be the same. What's underneath all the layers, this will peel.
Standing for Houston, Melissa Correa, KHOU 11 News.
Here we go.
You got a marvelous vibe, and I know it starts from inside. So fill your heart with pride and let your light shine brightly. Yo, don't hide. You're a work of art, unforgettable and off the charts. I can't pick a favorite part, cause everything about you is the key to my heart. All right. That's great. All right, okay. All right, okay. Hey.
Keith and I were talking while that promo was playing. I mean, KHOU really knocks it out of the park with every single promo. They're so good. But that one's my favorite because the pictures are so colorful and uplifting, and I just love it so much. Okay, before we keep on going with Happy Hour, are you all noticing what Randy's dropping in the comments? So Randy Klein is commenting on behalf of KHOU 11 News. On that last story, you guys really did like it. Ramona liked the story. Judy says, beautiful voice, beautiful lady. Thank you, and thank your voice in so many ways. Bobby, also a fan of the song, saying such a talent. So Randy did you guys two things, which I think is so cool. One, he shared the link for you, the traditional link if you'd like to copy and paste and share that on your social. But if you just want to listen to the song again, KHOU devised it where you text the word song, so text SONG to 713-526-1111, the number's in comments below, and we'll send you the YouTube link for the song. So you don't have to mess with the news link, read the article. You can go straight, listen to that song every day. It's really nice. I mean, I've listened to it again since that story aired because she just really does have a beautiful voice and she's so kind. Okay, this next story. It's the one I said. Just stick around for Happy Hour for this. It's Timmy and Nana. Timmy's a scruffy little dog, adorable. Nana's a Nana, adorable. The two of them meet together. Okay, pack your bags, Timmy. You're headed to Nana's.
Timmy's had a tough life. The scruffy mutt was hit by a car earlier this year. His pelvis in such bad shape, a San Antonio shelter was going to put the 10-year-old down.
Good job, you're okay.
Camo Rescue, a Houston nonprofit, saved little old Timmy, and volunteer Deanna Akers.
I got Timmy as a foster a few weeks ago.
Nursed him back to health and posted his bio online.
And Amber in Michigan saw him and fell in love with him and wanted to get him for her grandmother.
Nana, Sally Farrell, lost her husband in 2010, then lost her dog last year. Finding a replacement is hard because there aren't many shelter dogs in Michigan.
The ordinances up there are different. You do it.
Too fragile to make a drive north.
And I was like, I need somebody to ask. And then I thought of you.
Diana used Nextdoor to ask for help.
I've got the dog and I've got the adopter.
And neighbor, Southwest Airlines, could make the connection. From well wishes at the gate to some love right before takeoff, snuggles from flight attendants and pilots may melt your heart.
Oh my goodness.
Timothy, you're so beautiful.
But this moment fills it.
Oh.
Although he's 10 years old, he has so much life in him.
I'm gonna cry.
And we're hearing Nana now has so much more life in her.
This is no small thing. For all of this to come together, it was like the dominoes, and everybody was so willing.
Hi, buddy.
This is home, sweetheart. This is home.
That's the incredible thing about heroes. There's always room for more. Standing for Houston, Melissa Correa, KHOU 11 News.
Isn't that just precious? All of that story was put together with cell phone video, so I wasn't sure what I was going to get, but Nana's granddaughter, Amber, worked the camera for us, and that moment when Nana met Timmy and she removed her mask to give him a little smooch, my heart melted. They two have been together for about a week now, and word on the street, over there in Michigan is that Timmy is adjusting just fine. He feels safe and loved. He's potty trained. He's got a spot on the couch already. And I hear that Nana just loves having the company. So it's wild. This little dog, 10 years, got hit by a car earlier this year. One shelter was going to give up on him. But all you need is one person to find hope in you. And so Timmy was restored to good health, and now he's with Nana. Ah, that story is so good. Yeah, Randy says this story is so good. Timmy was saved, and we shared the link there. And Bobby again's like so sweet. I know. And shout out to Southwest Airlines. You know, I don't know if you followed in the story, but the rescue volunteer reached out to me and said, can you make a connection with Southwest? So that story, that's not the update though, but that story, you know, I called Southwest, and within hours, they're like, yes, we're going to get this little dog on the plane. We're going to make it happen. And the sign of the guys on the tarmac that says, we love you, Timmy. I could watch that story over and over again, and I have. It aired on Tuesday, and I've watched it a bazillion times since then. It was so nice. I love how Donna Myers is like, Donna Grimes is awesome. She's talking about the Yellow Brick Road gal. Yes, super awesome. Raquel says, hi, loving all these stories. So nice, bringing joy to people across Texas. Thank you so much, Raquel. Okay, this is so nice. At the beginning of Happy Hour, I was telling you, it's week 8, it's week 9. We've been doing Happy Hour for several weeks now. That's the moral of the story. We've shared a number of stories with you guys. And now, Keith, pull it up. We've got an update for you on one of the stories that we shared, I don't know, a few weeks ago. It was still when the stay-at-home order was hot and heavy in Houston, and there wasn't much that we could do. Restaurants and stores weren't open for walk-in customers just yet. So we featured this story of a Texas Medical Center doctor, Dr. Ben Cooper, and how on his 2 days off, he was building a tree house for his kids. I get that a lot of you were not here a few weeks ago, so I'm not going to do you like that. I'm going to let you watch the video again. Watch the story, and then I'll share the update.
Micah, what are y'all working on?
That's 8-year-old Micah, and that's Dad.
Building a tree house.
Dr. Ben Cooper. He's an emergency room physician.
We have progress, ladies and gentlemen.
With Mom Allie working the camera and 7-year-old Jonah in the background.
Major progress.
I think being close and near to family makes everything else tolerable. I think a lot of families are experiencing different ways to bond.
Doctors included. So for 3 weeks, the Cooper men worked to build the most affordable home in the Heights. Neighbors loved every second.
Our neighbors kind of feel ownership over it too, because they saw it when it was the studs or when Ben was on a really tall ladder.
It was hideous for a little while, and I think there was probably a lot of reservation around us, but everyone was very supportive, and by the end, the final product that kind of matches the home, I think everyone's on board and pretty happy with it.
It's just really fun to just have something positive and joyful in the neighborhood.
View from the tree house. Woo-hoo.
There are now plans in the works to spruce up the interior, and when it's safe,
your animals like to live in here.
Neighborhood kids will be invited to climb up.
Everything's different, but it's okay. We're flexible, we're adaptable, and that's what we do.
Dr. Dad, doing everything he can to save lives while making the most of his. Standing for Houston, Melissa Correa, KHOU 11 News.
Okay, so that was last month. What is the update? Well, we've got it now. The Cooper family sent me the pictures, and they've painted the tree house. Take a look at it. It's so precious. It looks like a nice, I don't know, what would you call that, Keith, if your mic's on? What'd you call that, like an emerald green, a forest green, a camo green?
Yeah. I'm impressed though that the I'm impressed the
I'm
HOA
looking,
was
but it's
okay with that, you know. But that's great.
Well, I don't think there. Yeah, I don't know if there's an HOA
right.
in the Heights. I live in the Heights. Yeah, I mean, they're just
They
up the
didn't cut
road
the
from
tree
me, so
down,
I don't know
so
because I've done some
they
stuff
got,
with that.
you know, so you got
They
that
didn't.
too.
Yeah, it looks really nice, and I love that the whole family's in there, and they got some yard chairs in there, some lawn chairs in there. It looks really cool. He was telling me when I did this story, like, you know how many neighbors are giving me the side eye right now because so many dads are under their breath. They're like, why'd you do this? Now I got to build a tree house. You know, when an emergency room doctor in the middle of a pandemic can find time to build a tree house for his kids, the rest of us might have to get our acts together. So I just love sharing that update with you. You know, these good news stories, they keep coming. And so huge shout out to Allie Cooper for sending me these pictures. I got them while I was on my 1-week vacation. So it was such a treat to see them and kind of wake up to them, so to speak, in my inbox. I love that Donna
Did he watch YouTube to learn how to do this? Because I don't know. Did he make one of these when he's...
He did watch YouTube to do this. This is how he figured it out. And at the very beginning, some of the pictures that I saw, he really didn't know how to use the tools very well. He said at the beginning, Keith, people weren't really thinking it was going to go far. But leave it to a dad to figure it out, right?
Like that at my house, that my wife thinks the same thing, and she's actually kind of on it there. A lot of things are almost finished, but you know.
Got to get it together, Keith. YouTube can save you. Right? Everybody's like, yes. Donna Myers is commenting back on Michelle Tristan's story. She has such an angelic voice. I love that Latasha Rose Whiting just joined us, and she's saying hello from Houston. So I'm glad to see that viewers are still with us as we sort of started wind down on happy hour. I'm hoping that you all enjoyed those good news stories. A look at how people are sharing a graduation. I'm glad that we had a safe space here to kind of talk about George Floyd and his death, and how we can all use that to look inward of our behaviors, of ourselves, of our actions, and all of these different emotions and feelings that we are now feeling today. As we get ready to say goodbye, for the last few happy hours, I've ended on this note, and I think it's so fitting, especially this week. And the note says to be kind and to be patient, because being anything else does not make you healthier, happier, or helpful. So we kind of wrapped up a little early. I'm so surprised we were able to get through all of those stories, but we did. And I thank you all so much for giving me the last 45 minutes of your time on this Thursday. For folks along the Texas, Louisiana Gulf Coast, keep your eye on the forecast. Cristobal is turning in the Gulf of Mexico. For folks joining us in other parts of the country, be safe as well. We're all in this together. We are all neighbors, and we've all got one life to live. Be safe, everybody.
Here's the thing about Houston. We've been through tough times before, but we are fighters. This is different, but it is still life-changing, and hopefully it will change us for the better. So do what you have to do now to be ready to bring our city back to life. Stand for hope. Stand for each other. Stand for Houston.